These aren't just any steak knives, they're going to be an anniversary gift, a surprise for a husband who has no idea what's coming. I'm making a full set of 4 from Nitro-V stainless steel. That is an upgraded version of AEBL with a little bit of nitrogen added. That makes it tough, holds an edge, and it's meant to last longer than either of us. The wood, it's going to be black walnut from his own family. It was given to me months ago by his father, before anyone knew I'd even be building these. Each knife will get its own color lining. 4 knives, 4 personalities, all tied together by the same family. By the time these are done, they're going to be more than just steak knives. They're going to be a piece of their story, forged by my hands and built to last a lifetime. Let's get to work. So I got to a point in this build where I was like, okay, I need these knives to look like they belong in a set, you know? So the thought had crossed my mind, hey, maybe I should bolt these together. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. I have clamps. So I clamped them together and profiled them the rest of the way, and that worked great. So yeah, that's the way to go. No welding. See? Look how perfect those turned out. Now it's off the heat treat. I almost forgot to drill the pinholes for these steak knives, and that is a mistake you don't want to make. Otherwise, you're just going to be burning drill bits. Once all the pinholes were drilled, I clayed all the blades for extra thermal protection against oxidation while in the kiln, and then they all went in for their thermal cycling. After all the molecules are relaxed from the thermal cycling, it's time to quench the blades. And that means locking in those molecules to a point where they're really, really tight and held together. And that makes the blades extremely hard. After that, it's just time for some tempering, which reduces that hardness slightly, but makes the blades a lot tougher. And a combination of that toughness and hardness is what's going to make these last a lifetime. You can see me pulling these blades out of my deep freezer here, and that's because it's been shown scientifically to increase the hardness by 1 point on the Rockwell hardness scale if you freeze the blades as such before tempering them. So that's exactly what I did. Now here they are going in for their final tempering cycles. That's 2 2-hour cycles, and they'll be good to go after that. Man, did I speak too soon. Those are nice and tempered, they've got a good combination of hardness and toughness, but man, they came out warped real bad. I think about 1 was just slightly warped and the rest were all just bananas. Good thing I have a straightening hammer that I made. So I'm going to use that to make a bunch of little tiny dimples on one side, thus expanding the metal on this side and bringing that warp back to true and straight. Alright, that didn't take too long at all. They're all flat now, and they're ready to grind off some of this scale, double check the hardness, and then grind in the bevels and really finish shaping the blades themselves. these particular knives, I went with a convex grind, so that's why you'll see me using the top slack belt here to grind in the bevels, followed by a surface conditioning belt to finish off the blades and leave that nice finish everyone likes. Right about here the blades are starting to look pretty finished, and it's time to start working with the wood. I'm going to stabilize it or submerge it in this resin and pull a vacuum on it, and that pulls all the little air pockets out from inside the wood and replaces it with that resin, and that makes it just harder, stronger, it's better in just about every aspect possible. So yeah, definitely doing that. Now it's time to cut these up into more manageable chunks to make the handle scales. Of course it's dead. Now that everything's cut up, I'm going to glue on the G10 linings and label everything so that each wood stays together, each liner stays together, all the pinholes line up, and everything is just better this way. I'll be giving them all these stainless steel pins. They should tie everything together nicely. Can't forget to finish the front bolster section first, otherwise it'll just never look right after. And the last step before gluing everything up is to drill all the pinholes so we have a way to secure everything nice and tightly. I'm using a 24-hour set West Systems epoxy. That's that G-Flex. It is very good stuff, and I've never had a knife come apart using it, so yeah, I'll get back to these tomorrow. Now that all the handle material is glued on, it's time to take these things from blocks to actual knife handles. I'm going to start on the bandsaw here, kind of taking all the big chunks off. I'm going to follow that by hand filing some of the bigger sections, and then to the belt grinder for final shaping, and hand sanding for finishing.
now that the knife handles are all shaped, we're going to hit it with some penetrating oil to make all the wood grain pop nicely and get that nice contrast going before buffing it and finishing the blades with a nice polished edge as well.
Every edge tells a story, and these have come full circle. From a father-in-law's gift of wood to steel shaped by hand, to a husband who has no idea what's waiting for him. Each color liner, a quiet signature, a reflection of the people who make this story theirs. What started as raw steel and a family-provided material is now something meant to be shared at the table at their home for years to come. 4 knives, 1 story, built to last and made with purpose. I'm honored to be a part of it. And until next time, stay sharp.